And Henry King immediately attacked by Francis Sharp before he even gets the chance to make his entrance properly. Thrown up the ring, referee clearly signalling for him to go. Kicking Francis Sharp away from ringside. Henry King rolling into the ring. Clearly hurt from the steel steps thrown into, but signals for the referee to be able to continue. And Center immediately taking advantage of a big kick to the head of Henry King. You got to wonder if that has come from the anger that Francis feels from last week's shock, losing to Desmond Sapperman, who's obviously allied with Henry King as a member of the Fallen. And you got to think that this has got to be a ideal situation for Center Inamura here, because we said that it's a massive thing for his career to be able to take on and defeat a champion of any kind, especially someone of Henry King's caliber, who was able to get that championship reign started in such a memorable and historic way of beating the ever dominant Leon Grimes. But Henry King, as we know, is not someone who is shy away from a fight and will still keep fighting on regardless of whatever damage is done to him pre-match. You'll also notice as well, he's one thing that Henry isn't used to as well is being here without any of the Fallen ringside. This is due to obviously every other member of the Fallen having a match on tonight's card. And here it goes. This is obviously Center's second match in MCW after that incredible match he had with the actual current international champion Frankie Vendetta. Bear in mind, he did beat Frankie, so technically he already has the claim of beating someone who is a champion, just they weren't champion at the time. Can he make it too? And you can almost feel the anger in every attack from Henry King, furious at that attack from Francis Sharp as he now crawls up to the bottom of the turnbuckle. But then you've got a question though, can Henry King really blame anyone that isn't himself? Center going for the pin here, 1, and a kick out at 1. As Henry King was asked by the referee wanted to continue, Henry King could have backed out of this match, and maybe so any kind of damage done to him here could be a problem for him. But pot immediately down from Henry as he now crawls over for the cover, hoping to put this away quickly. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Center Inamura. As Henry King gets back to his feet. As he now locking the submission on to Center Inamura, who manages to slide between the legs of Henry King and trip him up. And Center Inamura gets him up, and the burning hammer to Henry King goes in for the pin here. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Henry King. A leg drop from Center to the European champion. Not a man who shies away from the confidence that he feels, of course, as we have come to know from his original debut. But Henry King, again, still not giving up, and again, we know that he'll do whatever he can to keep his chances alive. Center rolling right back to his feet, but met immediately with an elbow from Henry King. And now Henry King showing off on his own. Obviously, I will say normally countouts don't happen in MCW, but because there was a rivalry action in the match, I can't actually avoid it, unfortunately. Henry King going top rope. Diving with the axe handle to Center Inamura on the outside of the ring. Goes to drop the knee, but Center rolling back to his feet. See the counter, the timer has restarted. D-Way, can you not expose what the thought process in my naming was? You've actually perfectly described exactly how I came up with his name. Another elbow to take Center down on the outside again. Center rolling into the ring now. Not alive for a count out. Trying to trash talk Henry King, but that just sets him up, able to lock in the submission once more. Will Center Inamura tap out here to the European champion? Manages to use the strength to break the hold. And tripping him. And Henry King lands neck first on that bottom rope. That is brutal. And Center Inamura gets Henry King up. And a buckle bomb into the corner. As he now goes in for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Henry King. But Center waiting for Henry King to get up to his feet. Goes for a second burning hammer. Will it land? It does. Right on the neck. Goes in for the pin once more. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 again from Henry King. It's this kind of fight and desire to stay in this match, though, that shows why Henry King is the European champion of MCW. Rolls out the way of the clothesline there. Big chop to the chest. Throwing him against the ropes. But Henry King gets the knee up. And puts him down with the elbow. Henry King still looking to try and get more out of this match. And kind of, even though he doesn't have risk of losing his title, there is still potentially a lot to lose in terms of bragging rights. Henry King goes top rope and drops the elbow onto Center Inamura. Center with the reversal, getting the punches to the stomach of Henry King. And planting him on the outside. And now stomping out the chest. Into a lariat to take him down. And goes to throw him out of the ring. But I don't want him to win by count out. In this. Countouts aren't even normally in the rules of MCW, but so I feel like it's a fair result. Gets Henry King up to the top corner. Gets him up on the shoulders. And the muscle buster to Henry King, now going in for the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Center Inamura picks up the win over Henry King, truly utilizing the attack from Francis Sharp beforehand. Makes me feel less bad about cancelling the count out, because basically that just means that Center would have won either way. I just at least made it a better finish. Here we go, TJ Stevens making his debut against Luca Myers, a man who's coming off the back of a victory in his debut as he beat Fantasma del Sol last week. And immediately Luca saw, you see TJ Myers there trying to soak in the moment of a debut, but Luca Myers not allowing that to happen, putting a stop to it very quickly. TJ Myers immediately taking the fight though to some of the more recent additions to the MCW roster. as he now runs from the corner. But TJ gets the elbow up. A nice little super kick there to the face of Luca Myers. The former Formula 1 competitor turned wrestler. Currently on the back foot to TJ Stevens, taking the knee to the face. And then another knee to the face there. But TJ, you'll get used to it, Carl. Sometimes I'll just get confused by people's names, and I'll merge them together. It's because you're facing Luca Myers. It happens a lot. The chat will tell you. Sometimes I'll just mix up people's names in together, especially because they're both like new characters as well. So I'm not like used to them. You know, there's a reason that I don't do commentating professionally. You know, I've always said time upon time again that in terms of all the stuff that I do with MCW, commentating is definitely my weakest point. But TJ Stevens wasting no time taking the fight. Now going in for the pin early. What? Oh, not even a 1 count. And who's knee busting Luca Myers open? It's a very early time to get busted open. But he's still not done there. It's not enough to take him out. I don't know what just happened there, but it locked on. But it was a brilliant springboard maneuver there from the drop kick. As he's now locking in the submission, the STF. But it's broken out of. Goes for the springboard. I think it was either an attempt at a cut or a crossbody. Either way, didn't connect fully. You can see TJ Stevens holding his back there, taking the back road of the pain there. Goes for the stomp, but it's a reversal into a pop-up cutter from Luca Myers. Now going in for the pin. 1. Kick out at 1. Goes for the leg drop, but it's rolled out of the way by TJ Stevens. Another knee. It's almost like TJ trying to break the face of Luca Myers here. Not letting the occasion of a debut put pressure on him, and then the double stomp there. Waiting for Luca Myers to get to his feet. Now goes in for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Luca Myers. It's true, it's been a very strong performance here from TJ Stevens. And I think it's clear by the video he posted on Twitter that he was here to send a message to the MCW roster. And he's using Luca Myers as the pen to send that message. Luca Myers' cockiness here, just inviting the chops. Could that cost him, though, in this exchanging of blows? Both men rushing and punching each other out as much and hard as they can. Luca Myers gets the elbow up. Sending Luca Myers down to the ringside. As TJ goes top rope. It goes, I think that was a code breaker. It looked a bit awkward from the game's perspective, but it was definitely an attempt at a code breaker, and it did land. And then a stomp on the outside. Blood left all over the ringside here. And now throwing Luca Myers back into the ring. TJ not letting up. Now in for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Luca Myers. Still in this now. TJ Stevens just staring him down. And a running knee to a kneeling Luca Myers as he staggers back to his feet. As both men start exchanging blows once more. And it's once again TJ Stevens with the advantage. And the super kick to the stomach. Plants him face first into the mat. You can see the blood all over the ring. And surely this is too much for Luca Myers to deal with. 1, 2, and it's not! Luca Myers still somehow managing to kick out of all of that offense. The springboard coffin drop. But with TJ Stevens stalking him like that, it could be all over. Right onto the neck of the ex-Formula 1 driver. 1, 2, 3. It's a very dominant performance here from TJ Stevens. And it is safe to say that the roster may have to keep their eyes out on this newcomer to MCW. And it's been a good night for newcomers so far. Of course, TJ now getting the a dominant win in his first ever match. Center beating the European champion in his second match. And we do have more new stars later on to come as well. In 2 matches time, we'll have Nick Stella Cruz going on against Kat Von K, which is two new additions. Alright, here we go. Reagan Knight versus Ricky Riley. Of course, neither of them have any support from fellow faction members. Of course, Reagan Knight, due to all members of the Fallen having other matches on the card, and Ricky Riley, of course, Brody has another match on the card, and of course, we all know, as expected, Francis Sharp was escorted out of the building earlier tonight after his vicious and unprompted attack on Henry King earlier. Now, Ricky Riley's got a lot of claims here to try and even here. There's a lot of claims been circling around for a while now that Brody is the one that carries Survival Instinct. You know, especially due to the experience. I mean, Ricky being under the mentorship of Brody for the past couple years of his career, with Brody being the veteran of Survival Instinct, even with Francis Sharp being the leader of said faction. It's Brody Murray that is the most veteran in that. He was also the person that mentored and trained Francis himself, so very different ends of the spectrum here. But Ricky Riley can set those criticisms aside here tonight, potentially by proving it here against Reagan Knight, a woman that should not be taken lightly. Her record does speak for herself. A very impressive all-time career in MCW, despite no major honours. She is 15-5, which is a very good record. And can she keep that record going here against Ricky Riley? Oh. And that's the inexperience there of Ricky Riley, the indecisiveness of how he wants to go towards Ricky Riley. That's like to Reagan Knight. Sorry, that's kind of the what you'd expect. It's a lot of where that criticism comes from on Ricky Riley. But yeah, Reagan Knight is one of the wrestlers in MCW with the best records, I believe. With only, if we're talking people that have had more than like 2 matches, I believe there is only 2 people with better records in the entire company, which is, of course, Max Black, who is 18-6, and then obviously the other being Leon Grimes, who is 22-3, and goes for the pin there, but kick out at 2. Referee paying attention there to the turnbuckle exposed. The referee wanting a nice clean match here between these two. Especially considering that I think we can all assume that the Tornado tag match at Ground Zero will not be a clean match. And to be honest, this barely is either. With Reagan Knight throwing Ricky Riley into the steps, clearly doing whatever it can. And it's no surprise that there's a bit more aggression than previously expected to be in this match. Of course, you know, the amount of respect that the Fallen members have for Henry King and you know, the loyalty that they feel towards him. And, you know, to see him get mercilessly attacked earlier tonight by the leader of the very team that they're facing for the tag titles must fuel that anger more. And a drop kick from the top rope from Ricky Riley. He runs towards the ropes. And a kick to the side of the neck of Reagan Knight as she sits in that corner. Ricky Riley goes up. Nice little rolling powerbomb there. And now locking in the sharpshooter. Will Reagan Knight tap out? She manages to fling Ricky Riley off, getting just enough on it, and then gets a little spinning elbow of her own. Goes in for the pin. Kick out at 2 from Ricky Riley. And the running knee, putting down Reagan Knight. 1, 2, kick out at 2. A very last second kick out as well. That looked close. You have to imagine whoever wins here would say a pretty confident tone. Indeed. Looked like Ricky was setting up for the sharpshooter once more, but Reagan Knight shutting that down. Reagan Knight climbing to that second rope. Frog splash. You can see her holding her own stomach though. That clearly got a little bit of recoil on that, but most of the damage still went to Ricky Riley, who takes the defeat from Reagan Knight, dragging Ricky away from the ropes. Reagan's been around MCW long enough to know how much of a disappointment those rope breaks can be, but a kick out at 2 from Ricky Riley. Now going for the pin once more. This could be over. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Tadpole splash. Ricky Riley climbing back to his feet. Goes for a little drop kick, but doesn't get all of it there. Clearly slips just before the kick. Reagan Knight trying to size Ricky up here. And a lovely lariat goes in for the pin. 1, 2, and then kick out at the last possible second. This truly could be either competitor's game at this point. Ricky Riley running up. The crossbody from Reagan Knight sending back down immediately into the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Not usually the way that Reagan would win a match, but I guess the unpredictability may serve her well, and I guess that's what her mindset was there. Nice suplex there from Ricky Riley. A rare show of strength from the tag team champion. A back body drop into the pin. 1, 2, oh no, kick out at 1 from Reagan Knight. As he locks in the armbar here. Will Reagan Knight tap out to the armbar? And she does not. She breaks out of it. But that's gotta do a lot of damage. It was locked in for a while, as you can see her stretching out the shoulder. Another suplex into the pin here. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. And you see that in-ring intelligence there from Reagan Knight. It looked like Ricky Riley was about to set up for the sharpshooter once again, but she rolls out to the apron, preventing him from doing so. That's the kind of experience you get for being in MCW as long as you have. And the backbreaker into a lariat. Now wrenching the neck of Ricky Riley, trying to wear him down. Something that we know Reagan Knight does so well. She does it a lot in tag matches that she's a part of, wearing down those opponents. A bit more of a methodical approach than her partner Jack Collins, who is a lot more built around trying to catch the opponent off guard. Especially with that stunner of his. Ricky Riley dodging out of the way. And a nice little jumping forearm. Now stomping the chest on the outside of the ring. And I have to say it for two competitors that are almost strictly known for their tag wrestling. They are putting on a great back and forth bout here in the singles variety. Reagan Knight taking a moment to catch her breath, noticing that, you know, Ricky Riley was doing the same. A nice suplex from Reagan Knight. She throws Ricky Riley into the ring, potentially looking to end this here. She does go for the cover. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Ricky Riley. But she goes to the middle rope again with a double axe handle. Now she's waiting for Ricky Riley to get back to his feet. But Ricky Riley with a reversal into a powerbomb. And the hidden blade from Ricky Riley into the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Reagan Knight. Ricky Riley trying to psych himself up. The running knee to the corner. Moving Reagan away from the ropes. And he's going in for the sharpshooter here. This could be all over for Reagan Knight. It's locked in pretty deep, it seems, and it's just too much for Reagan Knight after a grueling bout. That kind of offense is devastating when your legs are as tired as they would be after such a high-paced back and forth match between these two. But what a fantastic match between these two. All right. We go into Nyx de la Cruz going up against Kat Von K. And the first thing you immediately notice is the massive size difference between these two. Kat Von K going for the roll up here. Nyx de la Cruz going top rope, drop kick, bringing that Mexican style of luchador wrestling to this match, and a nice jumping neck breaker there. Kat Von K rolling right back up. And a drop kick to the face of Kat Von K. Getting the leg up. Throwing Nyx towards the ropes. And a huge one-handed powerbomb there. Kat Von K not shying away from this at all. I mean, we saw this in the triple threat that she was part of last week, won by Maya Dragomir, where Kat Von K was probably the most aggressive person in that match, consistently not letting up the attacks and doing as much damage as she possibly could. She's also the perpetrator to most of the weapons being involved in that triple threat. Nice little leg takedown there. Nyx de la Cruz not shy to try some momentum here, going again for that drop kick, and it seems to keep catching Kat Von K off guard. She's now trying to hype up her energy back into this. And a lovely Hurricane Rana, sending her on the ropes. And the 619 from Nyx de la Cruz, a homage to one of the greatest Mexican wrestlers of all time. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Goes for a springboard, but it's immediately reversed as Kat Von K rolls out of the way, not allowing it to hit. She wastes no time with a gutbuster. She gets Nyx de la Cruz up. A spinning power bomb into the pin. 1, 2, kick out at 2. Getting her up once again into an F5, into the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Honestly, that looked like it could have been a very big win, a very quick dominant win there, but it didn't happen. Diving shoulder tackle there, and for someone of the size of Kat Von K, that's gotta hurt. At the very least, it's gotta stagger you, maybe take the wind out of your sails. But Nyx de la Cruz's speed allows her to be unpredictable like she was there, to Kat Von K getting the leg up when she least expected it. Kick to the back of the head. Kat Von K though with a kick of her own to the head, proving that just because of her size, that doesn't stop her from being able to show a little bit more agility every now and again. And the drop kick from Nyx de la Cruz once more. It keeps working, so she keeps doing it. 1, and a kick out at 1. Goes for another drop kick, but Cat Von K pushing her out of the way. Big boot. Bringing Nyx back to her feet, throwing her against the ropes. Well, into the referee, in fact, actually. So she was going for a military press, but a sunset flip. Roll up here. 1, 2. Reversal there from Cat. 1, 2. Another reversal. 1. Oh, and again. And Nyx eventually breaks the cycle. That was impressive there from Nyx de la Cruz, though. Could have stole the win from Cat there. Again, like I said, it's that speed that makes it unpredictable. Because by the time that you realise what it is she's trying to do, she's already done it. Now throwing Cat towards the barricade, trying to create some space where she has a little stroll to catch her breath. And somehow lifting up the huge Cat Von K and dropping her right down on the back of her neck on the outside of the ring. And now going to throw her towards the ring now, because you cannot win this match on the outside. As she goes top rope. Goes for the pin. 1, 2. And a kick out at 2. But Nyx de la Cruz is not finished there. She's got more in a locker. With the torpedo kick. Goes in for the pin. 1, 2. And a kick out at 2 again from Cat Von K, who is now busted open. Nyx de la Cruz really seeming to stage an impressive comeback here. But Cat Von K looking to put that to an end here. Into a spinning powerbomb. Into the pin. 1, 2. And a kick out at 2. The hope for Nyx is not dead. Goes for that diving shoulder tackle once more, but Nyx dodging out of the way of it. It's a big back and forth between these two women and a one-handed powerbomb. Cat Von K consistently showing that strength stays regardless of the stamina. Now a side slam. And the powerbomb from Cat Von K, and now flinging Nyx across the ring. She now runs the ropes. And a jumping headbutt busting Nyx open back. She now goes top rope. And a big elbow from the top. Goes for the pin. 1, 2. And a kick out at 2 from Nyx de la Cruz. Still alive here. But Nyx with the reversal. Tries to create a bit of space, but those long arms of Cat Von K not allowing it to happen. Met with the headbutt. And throwing her against the ropes once more. Dropping down below. And another headbutt. But Nyx gets right back up. And Nyx with a kick to the gut. But Cat Von K gets her up. But the back gives out. But she gets her up once more for a back body drop, though. Looking to end things here with a spinning powerbomb into the pin. 1, 2. And a kick out at 2 from Nyx. As she rolls out of the ring, half dead. Practically cosplaying as a limp corpse in this match. Almost like her body was reacting off of just pure muscle memory. Thrown right back into the ring by Kat Von K. But Nix gets up. She's now trying to get back into this match here. A quick kick to the face. As Kat Von K stunned in the corner. Gets the elbow up though. Really not allowing Nix to get any level of fight here. And now choking her against the ropes. You can see Kat Von K trying to turn to any kind of attack that she can, and now both women trading blows. But it's interesting having two competitors like this change blows, because there's different advantages here. Of course, Nix has the advantage in speed, but Kat has the advantage in strength. But you have to say, will Nix even have the advantage in speed with how battered and bruised she is over here, taking the majority of the offense in this match? But it could go down to either woman here. But it's actually Nix that gets the advantage. Throwing Kat against the ropes, dropping down underneath, and a drop kick to the knees. And goes for that torpedo kick, but Kat Von K rolls out the way. Rolling out the way again. It looks like she was going to try and go for that springboard drop kick once again. But this time, for the first time in this match, Kat Von K sees it coming. Sit out, powerbomb. 1, 2, 3, and it's all over. I mean, you could have gone pretty much at any point during this match, and you know, and you would have been able to guess that Kat Von K would have won this match. But I don't think anyone could have predicted the level of fight that Nix Dela Cruz put in place to try and prevent Kat Von K from getting that dominant win that it looked like she was always destined to get in this match. Kat Von K menacingly standing in that middle of that ring, not celebrating too much, just taking in the moment of victory. Alright, here we go. Can Jack Collins bring the score between these two teams going ahead of their match 1-1? Of course, it is also worth noting, as they try to bring attention from the crowd. I believe that's actually the first time they've used the pre-match options in this game so far. And you saw there, it looked like Brody Murray went for the rush, but Jack Collins saw it coming, goes for the roll-up here. Kick out, though, before referee counted 1. But it is worth knowing as well that, oh, never mind, roll-up again. 1, kick out at 1. Right, for the third time I'll try say now, it's worth noting that, of course, these two teams have faced each other in tag competition before at Final Destination. They were both part of the three-way TLC match, which also featured Impact Theory. And it was Survival Instinct went into that match as champions, and they now and they defended successfully. But the Fallen clearly wanting a even playing field of just a straight up team versus team without the extra concern of Impact Theory. It's also worth noting as well that Survival Instinct are also the team that took away the undefeated tag streak of the Fallen as well, who ever since tagging or in any tag match of any sort, whether it's 2v2, 3v3 or even 4v4, the Fallen have always been undefeated up until that TLC match won by Survival Instinct, who worth knowing that they are the only 2-time tag team champions in MCW history. Of course, they beat MD Silver on a 2 versus 1 handicap match for the belts after Francis Sharp abandoned his once teammate to lead Survival Instinct, as he continues to do now. And then, of course, they dropped it in a shocking loss to Free Radicals, but were granted a rematch by Free Radicals themselves on the very next show and won those titles back. Jack Collins waiting for Brody Murray to get on to his feet. You've got two very different style of wrestlers here as well. You've got Jack Collins, who's very flashy, very confident. There you've got Brody Murray, who just likes to get the business done. Jack Collins with the reversal, with the backdrop to Brody Murray. Once again, trying his springboard. We do know that Jack Collins, once he commits to actually performing a move, he likes to hit it with that springboard clothesline, taking Brody Murray back down to the mat. Now trying to trap Brody into the corner here as he runs from one corner to the other. Goes for the running knee, but Brody Murray runs out on the big clothesline to take Jack Collins back down. Goes for a belly splash there. Push right out, but the running knee this time lands into the Bulldog. Now Jack Collins taking down Brody Murray, going in for the cover. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Brody Murray. As he continues the assault on Brody Murray, taking him to the corner as he potentially looks for that running knee again. Clearly show you what he thinks of Survival Instinct. Hits the running knee a second time, and the Bulldog to combine with that. So he now waits for Brody Murray to get to his feet, looking for a stunner, but it's caught by Brody Murray. Big forearm to the chin of Jack Collins, taking him into the corner, head first into the turnbuckle, but Jack gets the elbow up. A swinging neck breaker into the cover. 1, kick out at 1 from the tag team champion. Jack Collins inadvertently striking the ref there. The ref not calling it out, obviously noticing it was actually unintentional. Normally we won't. Normally you'll see us not defend Jack Collins, as especially with referees, usually it's quite intentional, whether it's him hitting them or whether it's paying them off for singles accolades. As he goes top rope, drops the knee onto the outside of the ring. Elbow to the top of the head of Brody. I will say it has been mostly Jack Collins in control of this match so far. As I say that they're Brody reversing, throwing Jack Collins towards the barricade. And the one-handed powerbomb. Like Brody was going to try and take Jack Collins back into the ring again. We know you can't win a match on the outside. Locking in a submission on the outside the ring, though. I will say, I mean, it's the Anaconda Vice, but it's not. Even if Brody Murray tapped, he doesn't. But even if he did, it wouldn't have meant anything. But again, I mean, I did say that it wouldn't surprise me if the Fallen specifically take these singles matches more personally. So maybe the goal there from Jack Collins was to just get as much damage done as possible. But you can see Brody not really in a rush to finish this match himself, though. A little bit unlike Ricky, knowing his own experience, knowing that he's not the most experienced in the world, wanting to try and capitalise, whereas Brody doesn't mind taking his time, knows he's got that veteran mindset. But the stunner from Jack Collins, and this one I mean when I said earlier that Jack is more focused on the unpredictability, trying to hit them when they least expect it, but a kick out at 2 from Brody Murray. And I will say as well, the Ground Zero is hosted in the hometown of both Brody Murray and Francis Sharp. hosted in Wolverhampton. Of course, Ricky not actually from Wolverhampton himself. The running knee. Ricky not originally born in Wolverhampton but does live there. Ricky Riley is originally from Manchester. Moved there when he was young to younger, convincing his family to move for he could have his wrestling training, in which obviously was where he started his mentorship under Brodie Murray. And the Spirit Bomb from Brodie Murray. And then moving Jack Collins away from the ropes again, that veteran IQ in the ring. Going for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Jack Collins, who rolls right back to his feet. And that swinging neck breaker once more. It's both men down on the ground, but Jack Collins staggers to his feet first. Quick elbow drop to the face of Brodie Murray. Now taking him to the corner, trying to close the distance. He's going to go for that running knee once more into the Bulldog. He loves overusing that move, but, you know, like we said before, Jack Collins and pretty much all of the Fallen are not against using kind of whatever tactics it takes to win, and if that means using the same move that they know keeps the opponent off guard, including the stunner, as we've just seen there. Jack Collins moving Brodie Murray away from the ropes, as Brodie did towards him. Goes in for the cover here. 1, 2, and nearly a last second kick out there from Brodie Murray. Jack Collins nearly evening the scores in singles matches between these two teams. It is also interesting to note as well that with these two teams, that both Jack Collins and Reagan Knight have had several singles matches before. Jack Collins, of course, even challenging for a world title at one point. But Brodie Murray and Ricky Riley tonight, it was their first solo matches, as they've only ever featured in tag competition outside of the Royal Rumble, but they basically worked together that whole time anyway, and they were not in the Rumble that long. And out of nowhere, the Spirit Bomb from Brodie Murray. Dragged away from the ropes. Going for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Jack Collins. Still got the fight left in him. Goes to throw him towards the corner, but it's reversed by Jack Collins. You know, wrenching the arm around the ropes. But Brodie getting the leg up. Looks like he went for a pounce there, but Jack Collins dodging out the way. And this is not the situation that Brodie Murray wants to be in. And you can see Brodie kind of dazed. Maybe he hit his head on the way down when he missed that pounce. And the springboard clothesline. As Brodie reverses, throwing Jack Collins into the corner. And a big double chop to the chest. So now lifts him up to a little alley-oop from the seated position. Wanting Jack Collins to get to his feet, but Jack with a punch to the gut. Now throwing Brodie into the corner. Goes for the running knee. Bulldog combination doesn't work, and this time the pounce successful from Brodie, but you can see maybe it still did a bit of damage to him as he's on the ground as well, but does roll to his feet first. As Brodie Murray climbs to the top rope, and a man of the size of him is not what you want to see going top rope as he hits the tsunami. No, he doesn't. Jack Collins gets the knees up. Jack Collins got the knees up, preventing the tsunami, and a big suplex from Jack Collins. To a man that's like 3 times his size. Jack Collins going top rope himself. A big elbow to Brody Murray as he now waits for him to get to his feet as he hits the stunner, moving him away from the ropes, and this could be it now. This could be it. That elbow into the stunner is a dangerous combination. 1, 2, 3, and it is. Jack Collins evening the scores, and that was much needed for the Fallen. A great back and forth, just like the Ricky and Reagan night could have genuinely gone either way, but it is Brody Murray. Yeah, I thought he did it. I thought he hit it as well, Brad. I really did. The camera work was quite impressive to keep us in suspense. There's Jack Collins celebrating. It's not often you actually see Jack Collins celebrate on his own in the ring. Again, normally they are accompanied. Alrighty, as we have Helga stepping up against John Black. Of course, Helga, former world champion. John Black rushing immediately with the uppercut. I mean, there's no surprise there. John Black, known for his scummy tactics to be able to win matches. We saw it come into effect even last week, being able to take advantage of a distraction pulled by Sawyer Ace of the Blacklist. But the brutality of Helga, though, it's not going to help to piss her off even more. John Black rolling out, and then the roll up. No, not even a proper roll up. Maybe John Black's learning. The swinging neck breaker from John Black. But no, John Black is not a man that is without his own successes, of course, an international champion when he beat Andre Cruz for it. Via said roll up that I mentioned earlier, and then you've got Sawyer Ace once again trying that tactic he did in the last week, on showing that turnbuckle and exposing it. Helga, as both competitors now start trading blows, but John also coming off the back of the Final Destination win in the Black Family Fatal 4-Way, which there was himself as a former international champion and two other former international champions in Olivia Black and Kieran Black, who obviously sustained injury in that match. Still a unknown return date for him, and of course he managed to John Black managed to be victorious in that match, and it's a reversal, sending Helga into the exposed turnbuckle set up by Sawyer Ace. Again, the Blacklist showing their value to John immediately, going in for the pin. 1. Oh, a kick out even before 1, despite the exposed turnbuckle to the throat, and Helga still kicks out at 1. But yeah, John Black manages to come victorious in that Fatal 4-Way that obviously featured the myth of the Mountain in Max Black, the only 2-time world champion in MCW. Although I will say, with Mizaki Ryoki confirming the her opponent at Ground Zero to be Wayne Evans, Wayne Evans could actually equal that record, which would be rather fitting considering he was the one that actually ended Max Black's legendary title reign in the first place, and the power driver into the package power driver now from John Black. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Helga. You can see that John, smartly realising the referee was still distracted, putting the padding up, not going for the pin after the first power driver and just waiting to hit the second. Goes for a moonsault, doesn't quite get the distance though. He's not a man with a lot of aerial agility, considering that his size. Running the ropes, goes for a drop kick, but Helga rolls out the way. And I will say, it's always a terrifying sight when you see Helga grab your arm. The master of the armbar is not the person you want to see grab that arm. And again, you notice Sawyer Ace in the corner exposing another turnbuckle. It's almost like it's becoming the signature and patented move of the Blacklist. You know, John kind of describes the Blacklist accompanying him as him mentoring them, as him teaching them how to win, how to wrestle, how to make it in this business. But you do have to question the amount of help that he has got from the Blacklist, that maybe they're there to help him, and maybe he has selfish motives for them being here. But it's unfair to say and to predict right now based on what we've seen. It could also just be a very mutual beneficial transaction between the two stablemates and John Black. And I saw variation of strikes from Helga here, trying to get back into this match. Helga going for that double underhook suplex, but it's countered by John Black. Punch to the back of the neck. He returns to a double underhook suplex of his own. It's really showing that whatever you can do, I can do better. Plants down, goes in for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Whose move is that? Is that the pulverizer? I feel like it was, but I could be wrong. Knees to the stomach and the sides of Helga. Referee distracted by the turnbuckle. And a side slam there from Helga, getting John Black up, as she's now targeting the arm. Armbar locked in. Oh, it's not. It's a Kimura lock, but the referee calls for a rope break. Thought she only had the armbar finisher. I didn't realise she had a Kimura as well. I know last season she only had the armbar. Running clothesline from John Black. Second clothesline. Tripping the legs now of Helga. Goes in for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Helga. John Black starting to get himself energised. Into the spinning tombstone power driver, into the pin now, but the referee calls for a rope break. John Black getting ahead of himself. He does tend to do that sometimes, John Black. He gets a bit excited to hit those moves and bring his chances up, but sometimes the intelligence side of the in-ring decisions does slip away from him, and that's probably not something he'd want to teach to his students on the outside. But I'm sure he'll probably claim to them during the match that he was just teaching them what not to do. Punch to the chest from John Black. Oh, again the gut. John Black dodging the grapple, returning with some kicks to the back of the thigh, and locking in the guillotine. Will Helga tap out? A submission specialist herself would be rather embarrassing for her to tap out. But John Black breaks the hold, realising that she's not going to tap out. Helga moving out of the way. Planting John Black back onto the mat. Throwing John into the ropes, dropping down, jumping over. Quick punch to the gut, send him down to his knees. This time hitting the suplex without reversal. She now goes to the corner. And a penalty kick. Goes for a springboard forearm. You never really see Helga hit those springboards. But when you're against someone like John Black, who's resilient, you kind of have to bring out everything in the book that you can. But it might not be enough if you have to take pile drivers like that. 1, 2, 3, and John Black is victorious. Once again, proving to the Blacklist that he might be the right and the best mentor for them. As that's now a second win on the bounce for John Black, a man who's normally very inconsistent. But now maybe he has reached that consistency. He's been on a roll even since the end of season 1. This man has been consistent and reliable, regardless of what you think about his methods. His methods work. That is true. This time the ending wasn't as controversial. There was still controversy in the match, of course. The exposed turnbuckle getting to the neck of Helga, which, you know, dealing damage to the neck, whilst also being someone who hits majoritively pile drivers consistently, is definitely a benefit. So it's not like he did it all without help. But John will claim that it is still better than his last win. It was more definitive. Here it is, Desmond Sapp taking on Andre Cruz, a man who any time this season, before Final Destination at least, can cash in that briefcase for a guaranteed World Championship shot. Of course, he's actually held that briefcase for a while now. He's actually the third holder of the briefcase, as the 2 previous holders had to vacate due to leaving the company. Well, correction, 1 left, 1 was fired. Because it's forever fuck that guy. But the lovely Hurricane Rana from Andre Cruz. Andre Cruz as well, always a pleasure to watch in the ring. One of the most exciting and high-paced wrestlers within the business. Desmond Sapp, though, dropping down, using the ropes smartly to get in this, but Andre Cruz, again, that speed and unpredictability. This is truly a David versus Goliath style matchup. But this would do huge things for a man like Desmond Sapp if he was able to get the win here. And to be honest, even if he put in a really great performance, it does a lot for Desmond Sapp, because being able to beat someone like Francis Sharp in your debut, that momentum's going to carry over more than just one match. And it does look like he's putting in an even level of competitivity to Andre Cruz at a big elbow from the top rope. Goes in for the pin. I can't blame him. I mean, a man of that size hitting an elbow drop is enough reason to believe that you could get the win. Andre Cruz kicks out. Runs for a pounce. I would say that, you know, it would matter that maybe these two have a big rating difference in game, but honestly, so did him and Francis, so it doesn't really mean much. And a suplex with the top of the head of Andre Cruz hitting the steel steps. That is brutal. Of course, Andre Cruz being a joint holder of a record in MCW, the fastest time from debut to championship, in which he holds the record with both Ricky Riley and Brody Murray when they won the tag belts, and it's that flip sit out powerbomb on the outside the ring. But yeah, but Andre Cruz won the international. Oh, it goes in for the pin. 1, 2, a kick out at 2. Andre Cruz won the international belt only 3 weeks after debuting. But it was the same story for Survival Instinct, who won the tag belts 3 weeks after they debuted as well. Go ahead after the torpedo splash, goes in for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. See, this is the thing with Andre Cruz, is you don't get much time to breathe. He doesn't allow that to happen. He utilises that pace advantage that he's going to have over most members of the roster, with there only being a few that could maybe keep up in terms of the speed. Basement drop kick from Andre Cruz. But yeah, he's relatively unmatched in terms of the speed. Maybe people like the Mexican wrestlers in the business of Nick Stella Cruz and Fantasma del Sol can maybe match that. I know Diego Barbosa is known to be quite fast, as we'll see him perform in the main event for the first time in Season 2. And another big suplex from Desmond Sapp here, not letting up. Just trying to do as much damage as he can. But the reversal there, Andre Cruz trying to feed off the fans. Truly a fan favourite. Has been pretty much since the day he debuted. Rolling out. Now returning with some chops. And a DDT. Busting the head of Desmond Sapp open. And that's a hard head to bust open. Kick out at 2. Going for the pin now off the springboard. But a kick out at 1 from the homeborn Texan. But the flips it out, powerbomb once more. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Desmond Sapp really struggling here against Andre Cruz. It's not to be ashamed of, he is one of the top stars. Another torpedo splash lands again. 1, 2, and more fight from Desmond still here. You gotta say, Andre Cruz must be wondering what it's gonna take to put down the big man for good for that free count. But it's not gonna be taking the choke slam from that high height. 1, and a kick out at 1 from Andre Cruz. Despite seeing stars and being lifted to the stars, still manages to kick out at 1. But that is why he's the heart and soul of the wrestling business and the heart and soul of MCW, because no matter what you throw at him, he will keep getting up. Andre Cruz has beaten some of the biggest names we have within MCW. And despite the not great start, losing in that triple threat match between himself, Helga, and Wayne Evans, it was Wayne that was victorious. Well, Andre's clearly very motivated to bring his mojo back. A springboard kick to the face of Desmond Sapp. And another torpedo splash there. Goes right in for the pin. This could be over for Desmond. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Desmond still got that intent to prove that the win against Francis wasn't a fluke and that he can do it on a consistent basis against some of the biggest names in the company. But right now he's going to have to do more than what he's doing to be able to prove that. As of right now, it's very clear that Andre Cruz is getting the better of him. Also, I will say, only Doug has messaged in like that. What feels like, like he's the only one to message during this entire match, and the choke slam on the outside of the ring from Desmond Sapp, throwing Andre Cruz back into the ring. Goes in for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from Andre Cruz. And a big suplex. This isn't the first time that Desmond has managed to turn the momentum in his favour in this match, but usually it's not long after when Andre collects the control of the match back. And it's just suplex after suplex from Desmond Sapp. He just isn't stopping. Absolute brutality from Desmond Sapp. Now stomping out the chest. And hits the torture rack. I remember the name of it this time. The torture rack submission. Andre Cruz doesn't tap out. Nice little arm drag there. Basement drop kick to the chest. And a reversal from Desmond with a big punch to the chest. And the Samoan drop. As he now waits for Andre Cruz to get to his feet. And looking for a third choke slam. Goes in for the pin. 1, 2, 4, and a last second kick out from Andre Cruz. But that could be the last of his heart and the last of his soul given to make that kick out. And a huge falling powerbomb from the big man. As he climbs up to the top. And a leg drop to the chest. You can almost hear his ribcage crashing under the impact. And a big suplex from Desmond Sapp. Both men now trading blows. But Desmond wastes no time. Barely even a trade of blows as he just dominates him. Hits with a 4th clothesline. 1, 2, and another kick out at 2 from Andre Cruz. The fight in this man. You can see Desmond Sapp almost laughing in complete shock. Taking Andre Cruz to the corner, dropping him face first onto the turnbuckle. Goes for a pounce maneuver, but it's rolled out of the way by Andre Cruz. Nice little pop-up drop kick there. Trying to feed off the energy from the crowd here. Trying to come back into this. Chop to the chest. And now wrapping the knee around the rope. And a clothesline into a second as he ducks under. And a drop kick to the chest. As he now picks up the big man. Into a standing Spanish fly. 1, 2, 3. Andre Cruz puts down Desmond Sapp. And that is why he is the heart and soul. It's the comeback king, Andre Cruz. A brutal offense towards him. But Andre managing to keep his stocks high. And despite the carnage that unfolded towards him, manages to pick up the win. What a comeback. What a match between these two. But I will say, I mean, I just say it to Brad in DMs now, but I think that is the strongest a wrestler has ever. Here we go, MD Silva versus Diego Barbosa. I'm also still so annoyed that the he isn't there but anymore. The Santos Escobar entrance. And a sling blade from MD Silva immediately. And a sling blade of his own, but into a basement dropkick. It's still so dumb. I can't believe that they have Santos Escobar's old entrance like as a title entrance. Like you can have it if you as a title entrance, but you can't actually have it as a like normal entrance. It's so dumb. But you saw Diego coming out with the his new updated jersey, which you can buy right now at MidnightChampionshipWrestling.com. Or so I've heard. But the Brazilian former football player taking it to MD Silva here. But you can't expect MD to take it. You tried, to be fair, Brad, you tried to buy the old one. The old one, and it was not set up correctly. That was on me. So I'm pretty sure I have fixed all those issues now, though. So I had the manufacturing settings set up wrong. But MD Silva's not going to take this kind of match lightly. Especially not coming off the back of the loss of the unification match. Throwing Diego into the announce table. But getting back in the ring. Diego following suit. Dodging the grapple though. Return to work. Been out with injury since May. Oh shit, that's a fucking while to be out, man. What fucking injury did you get, if you don't mind me asking? MD Silva though, he's looking for that Torpedo Moscow, and it is thrown out of the way by Diego Barbosa. He manages to dodge it, which is good for him because it's one of the most brutal moves within the business. That Torpedo Moscow of MD Silva. It's what led to him winning the championship at Final Destination in that triple threat match. Broken wrist, cracked the end of the bone, clean up. Jesus, how the fuck did you do that? It's insane. MD trying to get the sneaky knee up, but Diego seeing it coming. Diego's also one of those wrestlers with a very impressive record, despite having no actual singles accolades. Just fell on it wrong. Oh yeah, that'll do it. But Diego Barbosa as well is one of the originals of MCW. Was on the very first show. It's almost a shock that he's not actually won a title in his career. We see Diego's got a very leg-centered offense based on that past and history as a previous football player, or, you know, grossly named soccer for those Americans watching. And the penalty kick landing onto MD Silva, but MD getting the elbow up. And these two men do know each other quite well. And the roll up here from MD Silva won. And I think it is clear between these two that there is actually a decent amount of respect between these two competitors. The drop kick from Diego going in for the pin. 1, 2. Kick out at 2. But yeah, it's quite clear these two do respect each other, and you wouldn't be shocked to learn that. 1. Kick out at 1. Of course, as well, MD Silver, you can't talk about his career without talking about how the successes involved. You know, former MCW World Champion, former MCW Tag Team Champion, of course, with Francis Shaw, which led to the story of Francis versus MD, which was the feud of the year, voted for at the end of season awards. And talking of the end of season awards as well, MD Silver was cleaning up at those awards, getting the most Wrestler of the Night, most Match of the Night awards. He got the Wrestler of the Year award, Feud of the Year award. He was cleaning house. There's probably more awards that he won as well that I just can't think off the top of my head because it has been a while. But season 1 of MCW truly did become the story and the rise of MD Silver. Planting Diego on his neck, going for the pin. 1, 2, and a kick out at the last possible second from Diego Barbosa. But despite his amazing rise, MD Silver falling up just short in the first main event of season 2. To Masaki Ryoki, but a woman that had a very similar rise to MD Silver throughout season 1, both in failed factions and were seen as the weakest part of their factions, and then being the only ones of their factions to remain at the end of the season. And the torpedo Moscow out of nowhere from MD Silver, going for the pin on Diego Barbosa. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. And then both took time away from the company and reinvented themselves, came back stronger than ever, deadlier than ever. Both won world titles at Final Destination for the first time. Going for the pin now. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Diego can't have much fight left in him here. Goes for the enziguri to try and get some energy back in this. Of course, MD Silver also a winner of the Elimination Chamber, or Lone Survivor match as we call it. Diego with the penalty kick. But before he can capitalize, MD Silver getting the elbow up. But then the Pele kick. Diego Barbosa. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2 from MD Silver. 20 minutes with Max Black, who pummeled him. You can't ever write him off. That is true. A kick to the stomach. A drop kick to the gut. MD going for the roll up. Not the roll up, the cover here. 1, 2, 3, and MD Silver picks up the win against Diego Barbosa. And I don't think we can overstate how important of a win that is for MD Silver in his goal to potentially regain World Championship glory. As he'll be looking to get there, one of the biggest stars in the company truly paved his own path. As he celebrates in the center of the ring. Another hard-fought victory for MD Silver, the man with the most matches in MCW